boxing legend.
Hang on.
He fought his first professional fight in 1985 at the age of 19. At 20, he won the World Boxing Council Heavyweight Championship. To this day, he is still the youngest male boxer to have won that title, as well as the World Boxing Association and International Boxing Federation Heavyweight Championships. He was also the first to hold all three titles at the same time. He reigned undefeated for 4 years until the famous Tokyo fight against James Douglas. His record stands at 50 wins and 6 losses over his 20-year career, and he has been ranked number 16 on Ring Magazine's 100 Greatest Punchers of All Time. Ladies and gentlemen, I have here with me Iron Mike Tyson.
Thank you, thank you. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you.
So, Mike, we got to see you in action outside the ring recently. You were in the movie The Hangover.
Oh, yes. It was very fun. The director, he really he did old school, so I was really encouraged to do it. Like, I wasn't gonna do it at first, but once he approached me, he said, "Mike, do this for us, and it'll be so fun." So.
And you worked on that film with Bradley Cooper and Zach Galifianakis.
Yes.
The punch you landed on Zach was staged for the camera, obviously, but it looked pretty powerful. Do you still box recreationally?
Well, you know, ever since I fell into debt, it's very sad in my life. I squandered over $300 million of my fortune. So I had a comeback event where I took on challenges, and I just beat them down. So I was impetuous.
That actually leads me to another film that you were in. An old friend of yours, James Toback, recently directed a documentary called Tyson. It came out just before The Hangover. In this film, you said you lost the will to fight. Would you say that this is still true today?
Oh yes. Ever since Gus D'Amato, he was a father-like figure to me. He is my father. God rest his soul up in the sky. Ever since he died, he always told me that you should be a champion. He always believed in me. Ever since I was small, I used to fight. And when Bobby Stewart introduced me to him, back in, let's say I was like 16 years of age, I went to his boxing school, and he was the only one who looked out for me, because I really never spent time with my mom, and she died when I was young.
So you would say that you lost the passion to fight before you retired then?
Yes, it was probably around when I was defeated by Lennox Lewis.
And you just mentioned a loss there. Let's go back to the first loss of your career and what is arguably one of the biggest upsets in sports history. You faced James Buster Douglas in Tokyo on February 11th, 1990. At the time, no one really knew who he was, and the Mirage actually had him as a 42-1 underdog. You knocked him down in the 8th round, and you almost defeated him, but he got back up. Some people said that the referee counted too slow on that. Did you feel that way at the time?
It's true. My camp was really rooting for me at the time, because I usually demolished my opponents. I landed him with an uppercut, and he went down, and the ref was counting too slow. So it allowed him to get back into the match.
And in the 10th round, he finally got you. He put you down for the count with an uppercut and 3 subsequent punches. Did you ever think of quitting boxing back then in 1990?
If you look into it, at the time, I had fired my longtime trainer, Kevin Rooney, and at the time I became complacent with my status as the top boxer, so I would maintain to go out for one-punch knockouts in the early rounds, and I believe that that my talent waned at the time.
And do you think that this loss and the end of your undefeated reign cost you fans?
Not necessarily, because at the time I was at my peak, and I stepped right back into the ring, and I successively defeated several other contenders, and I defeated Razor Reddick, who he at the time was the number 2 contender. I was the number 1, and it was supposed to set up an Evander Holyfield match.
Now, Tyson wasn't the first documentary that has been done on you, and there was also Fallen Champ back in the 90s, The Untold Story of Mike Tyson. In this film, you discuss some of the troubles that you faced outside of the ring, and a lot of these troubles had to do with women. One scene in this documentary, a biographer and one of your previous trainers, Tommy Atlas, they describe a time when you were younger, and Tommy took you to the gym and held a gun to your head. Do you remember this?
Oh yes, but he would have never shot me, you know. He was just trying to toughen me up.
Yeah.
Because I like to be in control. So I guess he was trying to teach me a lesson.
Yeah. he said he would blow your brains out if you didn't clean up your act after he found out that you had acted inappropriate towards a young girl, which seemed like something that would straighten you out. A few years later, in 1992, however, you were in trouble again. You were charged with the rape of Desiree Washington and sentenced to 6 years in jail and 4 years probation. But you maintained your innocence even after you went to jail.
Because I didn't do it.
So you would still say that you're innocent?
I didn't do it. She wanted it.
Desiree showed at the beginning
She
of the
had numerous times to leave the room. And the only reason I was convicted was because I was a little abrasive in the courtroom. And the jury held that against me. So
why don't you
why
tell
was I
us,
only in there for 3 years? You tell me that. You
Why
tell
don't-
me that. Why are you bringing this up? Why didn't you tell me that? You got your papers there.
why don't you tell us a little bit more about that night then, so that the audience can get a little bit of a feel about your side of the story.
Well, you know, we were in Las Vegas at the time, and you were in the room, and she claims that I held her down. I never held her down. And but that punk ass limo driver said that she came into the limo disheveled. Well, she wasn't disheveled. Maybe I just wasn't good enough, but she wasn't disheveled.
Why do you think that Desiree would say that you raped her?
Because she's a money-hungry woman. She's a gold digger.
Okay. In 2005, you told US Magazine that your whole life has been a waste and you've been a failure. You said that you wanted to escape and get this part of your life over as soon as possible. What was going on at this point in your life that put you in such a low spot?
Well, I told you this before, but at the time my talent was going down the drain. I was squandering money. It wasn't really going good for me. My marriages were broken up. I just recently got remarried last year. I love her. But it just wasn't going good for me.
You ended up in rehab for a bit and are now working to clean up your life. Do you think that this is a road that you're going to continue down?
Oh yes, last year I had a very opening interview with Oprah Winfrey, and what really turned around my life was when my daughter died at our home, when she asphyxiated on our treadmill with a telephone cord. Yeah, ever since then I want to clean up my act. I know I said it before, but I really want to do it this time. I'm starting over.
Do you think that this upturn in your life could lead back to some sort of comeback, or are you done with boxing?
Oh, I'm done with boxing for sure.
You're done with boxing?
Yeah.
All right. Okay. We're almost out of time here, but I have one last question before you go. It's a well-known fact, quite a few people have talked about it, that you fly pigeons and you have your own coop.
That's right.
Why pigeons?
I just love pigeons. They're so calm. Like, after my last fight, I spent quite a bit of time in my Arizona home with over hundreds of pigeons that I own, because they don't allow me to keep tigers anymore.
So you traded in the tiger for some pigeons?
No, they took the tigers from me.
All right, well, that's all the time we have for today. Thanks so much for coming, Mark. It was a pleasure.